Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about two-phase locking protocol. It is one of the concurrency control technique used in DBMS. So what we will learn today, what is two-phase locking? Then we will see one example on two-phase locking. Then we will see the advantages of using two-phase locking. And lastly, we'll learn about drawbacks of two-phase locking. So first, we will see what is two-phase locking. Now it is called two-phase because it has two phases. Now which are the two phases? One phase is growing phase and another one is shrinking phase. So that's why the name is given two-phase locking. So what is the meaning of these phases now? Growing phase means what? Locks are acquired and no locks are released. During this phase, only locks are acquired. Okay, locks are put up or given. And during shrinking phase, locks are only released. You cannot give any lock or you cannot acquire any lock. Okay, so we have a growing phase and we have a shrinking phase. So growing phase, you only acquire the locks, you cannot release it. And in shrinking phase, you only release the lock, you cannot acquire it. So now we will see example on two-phase locking. First, I will show you how growing phase and shrinking phase is used. I have a transaction T1 and T2, both are executing simultaneously. That's why they are called as concurrent transaction. Okay, because they are happening together only, executing together only. Now, transaction 1 wants the exclusive lock on A. So exclusive means what? He wants to read also data item A. Suppose data item A is there, he wants to read also data present inside it and he want to write also inside it. Okay, and then he wants the shared lock on data item B. Okay, there is a data item B and he wants the shared lock on data item B, meaning he only wants to read the whatever is there in data item B. So shared lock means only reading of the data item, there is no writing. Okay, now he is only acquiring the locks. If you have noticed, he has first acquired what lock? Transaction T1 has acquired first exclusive lock. Okay, this is the exclusive lock, and then he has acquired the shared lock. Exclusive lock on data item A and shared lock on data item B. Now he is just acquiring the lock. So this entire thing you can consider as a what? Growing phase, because you are only giving the locks. Okay, or you are just putting the locks for the data item, that is called as growing phase. Okay, so now he has used his lock, exclusive lock and shared lock. He wants to unlock it now, so he will unlock A and he will unlock B also, because he has used it. After using it, as we know, in shared exclusive lock also we were releasing the locks after using. So here also shared exclusive lock, once its work is done, transaction will release it. After acquiring, only releasing is done. So this is called as what? Shrinking phase. Now unlocking or releasing the lock is done only at the shrinking phase in two-phase locking. So this is called as what? Shrinking phase. Okay. So we have a growing phase and shrinking phase. Why we have to use this technique? Growing phase and shrinking phase. First we have to only acquire the locks and then we have to only release the locks. This is done to achieve serializability, so that one transaction will get completely, it will finish its task, then only other transaction can start it work. So serializability should be achieved. That's why this two-phase locking is used. As per the compatibility table, we know exclusive, when it is taken, you cannot give shared lock also, exclusive lock also on the same data item to other transaction. Now T2 cannot have a shared lock or exclusive lock on A simultaneously unless T1 unlocks A. After once it unlocks, only T2 can acquire exclusive lock on A over here. Okay, over here only he can acquire exclusive lock on A. So he will also acquire, and he can acquire the shared lock on B. If he wants to C also, he can acquire the shared lock on C also and exclusive lock on C also. So now here also T2 is only acquiring the lock. Shared lock is acquired and the exclusive lock is acquired on A, B, C items respectively. See, exclusive lock is acquired on A, shared lock on B and shared lock on C. Okay. So he is only acquiring the lock. So this is called as what? Growing phase of T2. He is only acquiring the lock. And when it will be called as shrinking phase, when he will start unlocking, okay, the locks. For example, now if he starts unlocking A, unlocking B and unlocking C. It is called as what? Shrinking phase now. Whenever transaction starts unlocking, they are in shrinking phase. So now this is called as shrinking phase. Again, this is done to achieve serializability. Okay, now how we will come to know which transaction is completed first and which transaction is completed next? That is based on the locking point. Okay, now where you can point the put the locking point, where your last lock is acquired or the first lock is unlocked. Now this is the lock point because your last lock is acquired, that is shared lock on B. He is reading the data item B. After this he started unlocking. So first lock is unlocked is exclusive lock on A. So last lock acquired and the first lock unlocked, in between you have to put the lock point. So growing phase last point and shrinking phase first point. Between that you have to put the lock point. That is called as lock point. Okay. And where is the lock point of T2? Again, where is the last lock acquired? Over here. Okay. Shared lock on C. And where is the first lock got unlocked? That is A. Okay. Shared lock on data item A. That is unlocked first. So in between you have to put the lock point. Now this is the lock point of transaction T2. So now which one is having first lock point? T1 is having the lock point on top and T2 is having the lock point down. So this is the schedule. Okay, T1 then T2 will happen. So this is a serializable schedule. First T1 will complete and then only T2 will complete. So this is an example on two-phase locking. So now again you can see over here there is a shared lock acquired on data item A and then again exclusive lock was acquired on data item B. Now since the shared lock is acquired in transaction T1, since shared can be done simultaneously, so on the same data item. So T2 also acquires shared lock on data item A. Okay, both are happening simultaneously. They are not unlocked. T1 is not unlocked, is lock. Okay, so T2 can be, even if T1 is not unlocked shared lock on A, T2 can acquire a lock on shared lock on A because it is a shared lock. Okay, then T1 acquires exclusive lock on B. Now T1 has acquired exclusive lock on B. T2 cannot acquire either shared or exclusive lock on B. Not possible. Because when it is exclusive, you cannot simultaneously, other transaction cannot acquire the lock on that data item. So after this, T1 started unlocking data item A. Okay. And T2 is acquiring lock on data item D. Now D has not been acquired by T1 anywhere. So T2 can continue its process. Is acquiring the exclusive lock on data item D. Now T1 is unlocking the B data item B, which is having exclusive lock on it. He is unlocking it now. T2 is unlocking A and D. Okay, so where is the lock point now? Last, this is acquiring stages are called as what? Growing phase. Locks are only acquired, so it is a growing phase. And when the locks are started getting released, they are called as what? Shrinking phase. Similarly here, T2 is acquiring the locks over here, shared lock and exclusive lock on A and data item D. So this is called as what? Growing phase of transaction T2. And when he starts unlocking locks on A and D, it is called as what? Shrinking phase. Okay. So now where is the lock point? Last stage of growing phase and the first stage of shrinking phase. In between you have to put the lock point. So here the lock point will come. This is the lock point. And where is the lock point for T2? Again, last stage of growing phase and the first stage of shrinking phase. In between, the lock point will come. So this is called as what? Lock point. Okay. This is called as lock point for transaction T1. Now, whichever lock point is coming first, that transaction is getting completed first. So T1 will get completed first. So transaction T1 will finish its task first and then T2 will finish because lock point of T2 is down and lock point of T1 is on top. So this is the serializable schedule for in two-phase locking when it is used for this T1 and T2 transaction. So they are in serializable mode. Always they will be in serializable. Schedule will be serializable. There is no doubt in that. 100% serializability is achieved when you use two-phase locking because first you only acquire the locks and last you only unlock the locks. So here two-phase locking advantage is serializability. Okay, so it 100% ensures the serializability. Your schedule will be serializable, no doubt in that. Now, what are the drawbacks of two-phase locking? First drawback is it do not guarantee irrecoverable schedule. For example, you have a transaction T1 and T2. Okay, you have a exclusive lock on A. So you are reading the data item A and you are writing into data item A. You are reading and writing 10 inside the data item A, and he has not unlocked, is unlocking over here down somewhere, and then T2 starts his transaction. T2 starts his work. So he will also acquire the shared lock on A. Once T1 unlocks, T2 can acquire shared lock on A. He will also read and he will also write data inside A. He will read 10, he will write 10, and then he will commit. Okay, T2 will commit. Once it is committed, you cannot make the changes and you cannot go back. Now suppose T1 while executing somewhere before committing it get crashed. So if the transaction get crashed, it will again go to the starting position. So it has to roll back the value. He must have read, write, and again he must have read the another value. So whatever value he has changed, same value will be read by T2. T2 will read 20 because T1 has made it at the last 20. So T2 will use 20 at the start. He will read 20, he will write 20 and he will commit. Now here what will happen? Initially value was 10. So when it gets crash and roll back, T1 value will be what? Recovered value will be 10. But since T1 was having 10, that value was used by T2. So T2 also has to be rolled back. But T2 you won't be able to roll back because it is committed. So now inconsistency will be done. One transaction is having what? On the same data item. Okay, in one transaction it will be 10, in other transaction value of A will be 20, which is not correct. Both should be same. Consistency should be achieved. Data should be consistent, same. In variable is same, right? Variable A is same, so data should be same for both the transaction. There should be consistency, which won't be achieved because T2 is committed and T1 is not committed. So T1 if get crash, value will be changed in both the transaction for data item A. So you cannot recover from the loss. It is irrecoverable because you cannot, T2 cannot recover. Okay. Even if one transaction is cannot recover, it is called as irrecoverable schedule. So two-phase locking provides irrecoverable schedule. Now this is a growing phase and this is a shrinking phase of T1. Similarly, T2 has a growing phase and shrinking phase. Next is it may not be free from deadlock. Now what is the meaning of this? We have a transaction T1 and transaction T2. Now T1 has acquired exclusive lock on A and T2 has acquired exclusive lock on B. They are different data items, so both can acquire simultaneously. T1 has acquired on A and T2 has acquired on B. Now T1 wants lock on exclusive lock on B, but he won't be able to have the lock on exclusive lock on B. Why? Because it is already with T2 and T2 has not unlocked. T2 has not unlocked the exclusive lock on B. So T1 won't be able to use it. He has to wait for T2 to release the exclusive lock on B. Similarly, T1 wants exclusive lock on A. He cannot acquire it. Why? Because T1 exclusive lock on A is already granted to T1 transaction. So T2 also has to wait till T1 unlocks it, and both are not unlocking because they are waiting for the lock. So in this case, they will keep on waiting infinitely for each other. T1 will wait for exclusive lock on B and T2 will wait for exclusive lock on A. Both are waiting and both won't be able to release their lock. So when they infinitely wait for resources, we call they are in the deadlock. Both the transaction will be in the deadlock state. Next we have it may not be free from starvation. Now I already told the difference between deadlock and starvation. Deadlock means infinitely waiting for resource and starvation means finitely waiting. You have to wait for a long time but not infinite time. It is finite waiting. For example, I have a T1, T2, T3 and T4 transaction. All four are executing simultaneously. T2 has acquired shared lock on A and T1 wants the exclusive lock on A. He has to wait till T2 unlocks it. Now T2, suppose he unlocks it over here. But before he unlocks it, T3 wants shared lock on A. Now T3 will be granted shared lock on A. Why? Because shared can be given simultaneously without unlocking also. When shared lock is given on T2, Exclusive lock on the same data item cannot be given to any transaction. Okay. Shared lock can be given to other transaction. Now T3 is asking for shared lock on it. T2 has not unlocked it yet. He is unlocking over here, but T3 is asking before only shared lock on it. You can give, because shared you can give. They are just reading the data item value. Whatever is present inside A, they will read. They won't change the value by writing. Exclusive lock means what? You are writing. Okay, so you cannot grant in this case. So now here T3 will be given shared lock on A, and T3, suppose he wants to release it over here, unlock it over here. Again T1 has to wait till T3 releases the lock, because he wants the exclusive lock. So T3 has to release its lock. Then only he can have exclusive lock on A. Now T4, in between only he comes. Before T3 releases its lock, T4 acquires the lock on A. Okay, and he unlocks it somewhere over here. So again T1 has to wait till T4 unlocks. Here T4 will unlock. So once T4 unlocks, then only T1 will get the lock, exclusive lock on A. So see, T1 is waiting for a long time to take the lock. He would have got the lock easily, but he is starving for a long time. So drawback of two-phase locking is same like shared exclusive lock. It suffers from starvation. Transaction may have to starve for a long time. Now in this example, I can explain you about, there is one more issue with the two-phase locking, that is cascading rollback. You have to do the cascading rollback. Transaction may not be free from cascading rollback. Now what is the meaning of cascading rollback? Now T2 is having the shared lock on A and is unlocking over here. Okay, before it unlocks, only T3 wants the shared lock on A. So T3 lock is given, shared lock on A is given. Before T3 unlocks it, only T4 takes the shared lock on A. Shared lock on A for T4 is also given. Okay, so what happens? T2, suppose in between, before unlocking, if it gets crashed, before unlocking only somewhere it get crashed. Okay, so suppose T2 get crashed. So what will happen? It will again roll back to the starting position. Since T2 is backing, T3 also has to roll back to its starting position. Why? Because T3 has taken the lock from T2. Shared lock, whatever value T2 has read, same value T3 will read. Read. So it has to unlock. It has to roll back. So since T4 is dependent on T3, because it is taking the shared lock from T3 and reading the value what T3 has read. So again, if T3 is rollbacking, T4 also has to roll back. So this is called as cascading rollback. One by one, all are rollbacking. Okay, in the cascade means all are rollbacking one by one. Okay, and since T4 is rollbacking, T1 also has to roll back to the starting position. See, one transaction, if it gets crash and rollbacks, all other transaction has to roll back to their starting position. This is called as what? Cascading rollback means. So this is also a drawback which is noticed in the two-phase locking. Okay, so these are the four main drawbacks of two-phase locking. Does not guarantee recoverable schedule. This is not irrecoverable. Your schedule might be irrecoverable. It does not guarantee recoverable schedule. Okay, it may not be free from deadlock. Your transaction may go through deadlock. It may not be free from starvation also, and it may not be free from cascading rollback. I have explained you with the examples also. So this was all about two-phase locking protocol under concurrency control technique in DBMS. Thank you.